Would it be better if we switched?
Nope. Ruth
Jeez.
and
where are we?
Cory.
Okay.
Ruth and Cory. Ruth and Cory.
Okay, what do you think about the word world phobias?
World phobias is a great word.
Ridding your personal world of world phobia. Yeah, because we light workers can propagate a world phobia just as fast as a normie.
We have got a really cool show for you today. We're going to be discussing what Ruth and I have termed world phobias. So Ruth, how would you define that to the layman? What's a world phobia?
A world phobia is a fear that's on the collective. So I wrote several notes down when I was getting in a calmer vibration than we are currently right now. Some of the things that came to me was the words weapons of mass destruction in the mind.
Wait, go with that for a second. What do you mean by weapons of mass destruction in the mind? What does that mean?
So our minds are powerful.
Sure they are.
We know and have been learning about the quantum realm and how energy travels, how telepathy is there, sound frequency, sound healing. We learn all about the good things of the quantum field, but we rarely talk about the negative things. We rarely talk about our human potential to send energy as a negative vibration through the quantum realm with our minds, our thoughts, or our words.
Okay, so when you say weapons of mass destruction of the mind, we're not really talking about like a nuclear strike or an atomic arsenal. What we're talking about here is the fact that our minds are more powerful than a nuclear weapon or an atomic arsenal. And so what I understand you saying is that us putting energy out, our intention, and
our thoughts, fears,
feelings, whatever, has the potential to do more damage. Is that kind of what I'm following?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me share an example.
Okay.
A world phobia includes a collective mindset, including a people group, a society, a civilization, or in this case, the whole world. And it's when the collective or all of humanity in that circle begin propagating a certain mindset or a certain feeling that actually puts them into a panic or puts them into a disaster mode.
So this goes beyond just being a member of an echo chamber. If I'm understanding this correctly, it could be that these things start in an echo chamber, but then they get out of control.
Exactly. So an example on a natural level would be a natural disaster. I remember Hurricane Katrina, and we were up in Maine at the time, and Hurricane Katrina, the fear reached all the way up till Maine. And I remember exactly where I was. And I remember a man walking by that we didn't even know saying, you need to tie this down, and you need to do that, and you need to watch out because your lawnmower is going to blow away. And I remember that as a little girl. We did prepare, but I don't think we really got any weather at all, maybe a little bit of rain. But a natural disaster can put people into that state of mind. I gotta close my windows, I gotta go run to the grocery store, and I gotta buy all this food, and I gotta make sure my lawn chairs are put inside. So just by that man coming by and saying that, put my family into that mode of operation, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but that's a natural disaster that we legit need to be prepared for.
Let's just talk about that for a quick second then. There's a difference between preparing and being prepared and being afraid.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the world phobia, it's still to create a preparation, you need to have a level of caution. So a phobia, though, can be something related to a possible disaster. It doesn't necessarily mean it's really there. So it's something that's put into a person's mind through information, and it spreads throughout the whole community or the whole society, and they get into a state of what possibly could happen. And oftentimes a phobia doesn't have a whole lot of preparation to it. You see the difference?
So
It's not necessarily something that you can legit face together as a community. It creates a massive panic, and many people don't always know what to do.
So that could be more along the lines of something coming up very quickly. In other words, there was no time for mental preparation. It was like all of a sudden, oh, we've got this pandemic going on. Never saw that coming, did we?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So that's a natural disaster. Just gives us context for how it works. But then a world fear or a world phobia is oftentimes a grade higher, and it's a little bit more illogical, and it's based mostly upon information. Now, another way that a world phobia could start is the example of Paul Revere. The British are coming, the British are coming. He carried information through the airwaves, and he was right. So the information can be accurate.
Yeah.
The information, but it still created a lot of fear in the colonies. However, it can also just be a rumor, and it can also be propaganda. And I would love to look up the term propaganda and what that means.
I'll try.
Because I know it is information spread with an agenda of some sort. And I believe that is a true root of a world phobia in most cases.
Wow, this is actually really cool because I spelled it right the first time. I'm not used to that. No, we don't want to use Wikipedia. Gosh. How about we go with a Merriam-Webster definition?
Sounds good.
Or we could go with... Anyway.
What is the meaning of propaganda?
Okay, so obviously there's more than one definition for words or applications. And just go with the first one on this one. So, propaganda, which is a noun, here, it's a congregation of the Roman Cura having jurisdiction over missionary territory.
Okay, maybe not. I didn't know that would be the first one.
Here's the one that we're more used to. The spreading of ideas, information, or rumor for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person. And number 3 is ideas, facts, or allegations spread deliberately to further one's cause or to damage an opposing cause. Also, a public action having such an effect.
So I saw an example of propaganda when I was in Puerto Rico. There's a faction in Puerto Rico that wants to go independent from the United States, and so they write things on the wall. And there was a college kid in our team, and he's like, oh, that's propaganda, because there was a faction of what they considered uncivilized people that wanted to go independent of the U.S. I don't really blame them. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. They're expressing their ideas, and they spread their, not through newspapers, not through social media, because it was very considered, but they would write like graffiti on the walls of the city streets to share. And so that's the classic modern day term of propaganda, as it's considered in the politically correct arena, according to like the college. They would call that propaganda of a faction that's not fitting into society. But that's a whole nother topic there.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack that just a little bit more. So when you're talking about propaganda in relation to world phobia, well, actually, let's even take propaganda out of it. Let's go back to the term world phobia. What's the term phobia mean? It means a fear, right? Let's talk about fear for a moment. Is it healthy to have a certain level of fear? Well, I would say that that's a little bit debatable. I would say for the average normie, a healthy dose of fear is actually a good thing to have. For the spiritual minded, I would say that fear is probably a emotion that you want to eradicate. Well, for various reasons, and I don't think we have the time to go into that now.
Based on frequency, vibration, and energy, fear could be a dangerous or a potentially lowering of your vibration.
Right. You don't want to go into fear because it does lower your vibration. Why would institutions want to propagate a world phobia? They want to propagate a world phobia in order to instill fear within the populace, within the community, or the global community even. And why choose fear to do that? Because throughout history, fear has been the number one most effective tool in controlling a population. You keep a population in fear, and you have control of the population. And I think if 2020 didn't just make that, I mean, if 2020 didn't make that absolutely clear, I don't know what else would at this point. But we're about to find out.
Let's talk about the toilet paper shortage of 2020. Okay. Why would a toilet paper shortage be something someone would propagate? Well, number one, someone made a lot of money off of that toilet paper. Were there, stocks and whatever. There was a lot of money made off of it. I also believe that a money making can create a reason to do a phobia. If you can do a water shortage scare, if you could do a pandemic scare, it would create a need to get medical supplies, to get the, and just spike certain pockets.
Yes.
So that's another action as well, that why a phobia could be. And then it goes back to the control. We can get their money, we can control them.
Yeah.
The other one is the agenda of world control on a global scale to implement certain technologies to control people. My Scorpio nature is coming. We had an attack at 9/11, and right after that, because of that, we had the Patriot Act in 2002, I believe, that was signed into law. And this Patriot Act, basically, we agreed as American citizens to give away our rights to our privacy if the government thought we might be a terrorist.
Well, we actually gave away additional rights to our privacy, although that had been happening all along. This was just a massive event that was taken advantage of in order to remove more freedoms.
Exactly. And so these are just little examples of why a world phobia could be used to control society. And when we come to recognize what they're doing and we end up not responding in fear, they lose control.
I agree.
And that's why we're doing this video.
That's right.
So, Cory,
yeah,
what world phobias are you feeling or seeing as a trend possibly coming in 2025?
Well, all right, so let's talk about a couple of them real quickly. Now, first of all, I'll let you know, I do not watch the news. I really don't. And every now and again, I will look at headlines and maybe read first paragraph or two, and it always reminds me of what bullcrap this is, and I just put it away. So there's three that I want to look at. One is this on the eastern seaboard of the United States, we had there's this nor'easter, which is the term for a storm that comes from the southwest to the northeast right up the coast. And usually it brings a lot of moisture, and it can bring a lot of snow, cold temperatures. It can be a big deal. There was this warning this year. It started about a week ago. The thing that got me in the article was that they were predicting temperatures and snowfall reminiscent of that of 2013 and 2014. And I'm like, that was 10 and 11 years ago.
Why are we supposed to be scared of that?
What is there to be worried about?
But it was a point of fear.
But it was a way to bring out fear. Now, is it going to be a little more treacherous driving? Sure. Is there going to be shortages of stuff? Not if you stock up, not if you prepare. Not be afraid, just prepare. But I just thought it was so funny. Only 10 years ago we had this. I loved it too, by the way. I didn't have to go to work. It was beautiful outside. All right, so that was the first one. Now let's go on to some that others may be more familiar with at the moment. Let's talk about UFOs and UAPs and drones and mysterious lights in the sky.
Another fear.
Oh my
phobia.
gosh. The fear mongering over this thing. Do I know what they are? No, I don't know what they are. More importantly is, do I care? No, not especially. What am I going to do about it? And what do I really need to bring my vibration down for?
Care for something like that. And that's why I'm seeing like it's a phobia, because you have nothing to do to prepare. You really can't.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing you can do to prepare for something like this. Now, a lot of people will cling to external sources in order to understand what they don't understand. For example, well, let's talk about this. There's the UAPs. There was this fog supposedly this fog that's been making people sick, where are you going to go to get your information? Are you going to go to an external source that has an agenda? Probably to spread some propaganda? Do you think there's going to be sources out there who start making stuff up just in order to
get views,
get clicks, propagate the fear, more control? And then the worst one I've seen yet, I've got to read this. Healthcare facilities in California, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, New York, and Wisconsin are reinstating face mask mandates due to concerns over a quademic.
Quademic.
Are you effing kidding me?
What does that even mean, quad? Is it fourth time around?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know.
Tri-state area, like a 4-state area, 5-state area?
Well, quademic, there's like 5 or 6
6.
states there, so that's not it. I don't know what they mean by quademic, but I'll tell you what. God, that must be so much worse than a pandemic, right?
Right.
We rephrased it. We took an old phrase. We took an old word.
Had a new fear.
Rephrased it to make it
Old
even
fear.
scarier.
Yeah.
Than what happened in 2020. My response to this is, for crying out loud, come on, we've been through this before, people. Buckle up, get ready. When I say get ready, that we'll get into that in a minute, but the most important thing when you're reading these things is do not allow yourself to be lowered into the vibration of fear. All you do then is you are part of the propagation of that fear. Your vibration alone, your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions are being used in order to continuously propagate this. Now, for those of you that can maintain a higher state of vibration, that fear stops. You are not part of the fear propagation at that point. And guess what? The whole agenda crumbles. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Your question to me was, what do I see upcoming for 2025? And I'm not, this is just me talking, my opinions. I think we're going to continue to see continued lights in the sky until there's something else that we can be distracted with. I think we'll continue to see more fog rolling through the country until we can be distracted by something else. I think we probably will experience another massive fear campaign through an illness, through a virus that we can't see, touch, feel, or anything.
So basically it's mostly in our heads.
And we're going to get to that when we talk about how to handle this. You're absolutely right. It's partly in our heads. That's
partly,
very
of course.
true.
There's always disease.
Yes.
And there's always, we need to carry those that are sick around us and build our immune system, of course. Right.
Those are the things that I see. Oh, and by the way, I think we're going to get some snow this winter. I mean, what you going to do about it?
Several of the things that I think may be coming is the fear of governmental systems collapsing. I don't think it's going to really happen, but I feel intuitively that people are going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid of crashes and stuff, and just to, is the bank going to collapse or the stock market going to collapse? It's kind of been going on since 2020 as well, along with the economy. So fears for the economy, I think, is possibly another.
That's another very legitimate.
I feel like it's more of a long-standing fear, though, that just keeps. It's like they're in the subtle background of our heads, and we're not always aware of it.
Here's another one that goes right along with the stock market idea. How long have we been watching the national debt go up?
Yes, that creates a world massive.
What are we told about that? Well, at this point now, I don't think at this point now we can even. Our interest payments are more than the interest payments are now more than the national average yearly payment or usage or something like that.
Some sort of major catastrophic financial.
Now that's not sustainable. Are you going to be afraid about it? That's up to you. But again, we're gonna talk about how to handle these fears here in just a moment. But these are some of the things that we're going to continue as Social Security. Yeah. Is that going down? I'm going to be eligible to draw Social Security soon.
So can I talk a little bit about fear?
Let's talk about fear.
I wrote a little bit about how fear travels and how I've noticed it travels. Fear is contagious. It is a frequency that you can pick up. Dogs can feel it and sense it in other people. You can feel it by walking into a room full of people and you suddenly get afraid. You're like, why am I afraid? Somebody in that room could be afraid. You can sense it by going down a dark alley and all of a sudden one alley is fine, but the next alley, and that's really our intuition.
Absolutely.
Okay? And that travels on the quantum waves and you can feel somebody else's fear or feel a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
So it travels energetically and it travels with information. So I believe fear and information kind of tend to go hand in hand when you're looking at a world phobia. Okay?
Yep.
This fear of a world phobia travels through words, messages, and if I could get a little woo-woo here, even through technology.
Sure.
Technology is in electricity, which carries energy. And I believe I have personal experiences where I've walked into a restaurant and looked at a TV and watching a news channel that was speaking about a world event. And I felt my heart pounding. And I didn't care who. I knew there was nothing going on. But it was like fear was being propagated through that.
Let's talk about that for a second. From a sound healer's perspective, that makes total sense to me because you can use sound and light to affect people.
Because it's intention too.
It is intention, certainly is, but remember everything is frequency. So you put your intention onto a frequency and you can do whatever you want with it. And you're right. The mainstream media trying to sell their propaganda and their fear, that's their intention, and that goes out through the colors that come through the TV screen.
Good point.
It comes out through the vibrational
words,
sounds that come from the TV screen, whether it be the music, the voices. All of that is just pushing fear into the environment in which the receiving device is in.
Such a good point. I remember a YouTube ad that was during 2020, and it was a bunch of people, and I was listening to another, and the ad popped up, and it said this, Cory: coronavirus. The words popped up, and a voice, coronavirus. And it literally spit out the word like 20 times and then said, are you prepared? And I went, what are you doing? 20 times of that word. But fear is a magnet as well.
Sure.
Because when you see something afraid, you want to get to a safe place, so you're drawn to it. So, let me click on this. What's happening? Is there a virus coming near me? So it is a magnet as well.
Right.
Because it gets people to look at it because it's drama. And drama is contagious and very attractive. Very pulling in, very...
Clicks and likes.
Let's look and to see what drama. So that's how I see the fear feeds on that drama.
That's good.
It feeds on that out of balance feeling and that negative excitement. Because we do have to realize there's sometimes when we get, let me share this with Cory. Did you know there might be fog coming in? I wonder if this fog is the same fog that they talked about. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Let's go check it out.
And it's an excitement, but it's intense and it's lower vibration.
That's right, it is. Yeah.
And that propagates. Let me share this. Let me post this post on Facebook. Let me share about the potential winter storm warning, and it creates a cycle.
Right. Yeah. What else did you have?
How do we handle the world phobia as a light worker?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily putting our heads in the sand either. Like, some people enjoy knowing what's happening, and they're called to the world stage. They're called to know what's really going on.
Right.
How do you handle it?
I want to rephrase that question. How do we handle a world phobia, period? Now, there's a way to handle it as a light worker, and there's a way to handle it as a non-light worker. And for those of you that don't understand what light workers are people who have been called to help humanity through energy. If you're not one of those, doesn't mean you're not. Just
a being of light.
A being of light, right? Yeah. It just means that you haven't recognized that you are yet.
Yes.
But you're gonna get there. Don't worry. So how do you prepare for these fear-mongering? What do we call them? Phobias. And what was the word you had me look up?
Propaganda.
Propaganda campaigns. How do you really do that. Let's talk about doing that as a light worker first. So as a light worker, you want to make sure that you do not lower your vibration down to fear. Do not do it. Oh, dang, Cory, that's so easy. Let's just do that. All of us, right? Yeah, okay. Easier said than done. I understand that. Now, how do you do that? You need a meditation practice of your own. You really do. To be internally connected. To make sure that you are internally aligned with Creator God, with Spirit, with the universe. If you're not internally aligned with that, then that means you are going to be looking externally for assistance. If you start looking externally for assistance, you open yourself up to the
propaganda.
Well, not just definitely to the propaganda, because you're going to be looking for those explanations externally.
Yeah.
But then you also aren't relying on your inner innate intelligence,
Your inner divine guidance.
your inner divine. Thank you.
Your intuition.
Bingo.
Or your centeredness.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's what you're not going to be relying on.
So what you're saying here is that when we're facing with a phobia, a fear, anything, we will never find peace outside of ourselves.
Never.
We'll never find it by clicking on the next YouTube video about what really... Even if we know the entire truth about the whole situation, you still won't find peace in that external truth.
Let's just say you will not find permanent peace. You may find a little bit of
temporary closure, temporary distraction, answers.
But that's only good until the next event comes up. It's not going to be... It's not a permanent solution. Being in a high vibration permanently is the permanence. That didn't really make a lot of sense, but using the same word to describe the same word.
Place of peace and love and joy and calmness and absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How do you get there? Again, meditation. Meditation is one of the keys to getting there. Going inward to look for that guidance, going inward to better understand, know thyself. And I know we've said this on videos before, know thyself. The better that you know yourself and remember who you really are, that you are an eternal, divine, unlimited being, then you'll know that these external events have no bearing on you. And that's totally up to you to understand. It's not something that you're going to find externally to get you to that point. You'll find guides. Ruth and I we've bounced ideas off one another that have made a lot of sense and have helped us along our spiritual adventures. You'll find help with certain communities, but it is not the be all end all for understanding. That has to come from in here.
Exactly. And, I learned to recognize the vibration of the person I was listening to if I was looking for answers. So I always like to feel into situations. So, for example, with the drones and the UFOs and the sightings, I felt into it and being like, okay, Spirit, so anything I need to know. Am I feeling an intuition to go out and buy extra food? No, I didn't. I felt they were a certain vibration, and I did my intuition. I even asked Spirit about it personally because I'm a psychic that looks into that, but I didn't do it for the first month. I just felt into it and say, if Spirit wants to share something with me, I'm going to feel intuitively guided.
Yep.
The other thing is I learned to recognize the emotion of the person giving me answers or giving me clarity or direction. Are they doing it from a place of excited drama? Oh my goodness, look
fear.
At this video. Or why the thumbnail, why the world is going to end in 2025. That's fear porn. That's fear negativity. That's just a negative excitement to do click views. And we as spiritual people have to learn to recognize the energy coming through our electronic devices and the people we listen to.
Right.
We can't just listen to the words anymore.
Right.
Because their energy will affect us.
Because words are nothing more than sound vibrations. All vibrations affect you.
All vibrations.
Right.
Yes.
And again, to Ruth's point, it's not what you take in externally. It's what you get internally. So there's a whole bunch more we could go into about that, but we don't have the time. And one day we do need to talk about what it means to go inside and what you can find in there, which is basically everything. And everything external is your creation and your co-creation between you and Creator God.
Yes, and we
Simulation.
are doing meditations that are helping us connect to inner divine guidance.
That's right.
That's for sure. So check that out, definitely.
The last thing that I want to mention on this particular topic is this idea of another illness coming about and the fear that's going along with it. You want to know how I would prepare for this? Besides what I've already said about not lowering my vibration to fear, I would do this. I would develop the meditation practice. Now, from a physical perspective, viruses are little things that take targets of opportunity. There are many things that you can do to prevent those viruses from inhabiting your avatar, from inhabiting your body. One, breathing exercises. When you do breathing exercises and you breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose, you create what's called nitrous oxide. You produce additional nitrous oxide inside your body. This nitrous oxide So the breathing through the nose increases your ability to fight off viruses. And so this production of it's in your nose, which is where the virus will come in at, and it cannot survive in that environment. Now the second way that you can do this, and I know this is the right terminology, the immunoglobulin A. When you meditate, you increase the amount of immunoglobulin A within your body. Immunoglobulin A is antibacterial, antiviral. It is anti-everything. It is way better than the flu shot. You don't need a flu shot. You don't need a shot. You don't need a shot.
You need to connect to your inner light.
Connecting to your inner light through meditation, and then allowing that meditation practice to take care of your physical body through the systems and processes that were divinely instilled within us is the way to avoid this. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be afraid. And you don't need a shot.
Right.
Now, I do want to say, though, this is all just my opinion, backed up by science through Joe Dispenza.
Wow. And again, use your own intuition and doing what feels right to you.
Yes, listen to your internal voice. Listen to your internal voice.
That's good advice.
So, for the threat of a quademic, that would be my preparation process, is to continue my daily meditation practice and to continue to keep my vibration high, to continue my breathing practices, because that's all you need. You don't need anything else, and you certainly don't need the fear in your life.
I saw a quote that said, "We are not in cold and flu season. We're in low vitamin D and high sugar season." And so I, being a Virgo, would also add on to the meditation is really do research on how to keep your body healthy and to take power over your own life, create your own reality with healthy foods, detoxes, vitamin C, vitamin D, and really feeling into what your body is wanting, cutting back on some of the sugar, because that will lower your vibration and your body's ability to fight disease. And that's how we take power away from any propaganda concerning a pandemic, a quademic, any kind of virus. We take power away because in our minds, we're like, I'm doing everything I can.
Yeah.
And that gives you a sense of peace.
Yeah.
That fights the fear.
It does.
Because when you do the things your body, your spirit is asking you to do, it puts you into a place of I'm prepared.
Yes.
And that strips fear right away.
Absolutely. So 4 areas of your life where you can affect and make change and take care of yourself are these: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Now, I put physical last because that seems to be where everyone wants to put it. Now, if we change that around a little bit and say spiritual, which, because I think taking care of yourself spiritually is the start of being able to take care of yourself in those other
mentally,
areas.
emotionally, physically.
Your physical health is so very important for your spirit in order for your spirit to keep you aligned. If you continue to feed your body with poison, and I'm not going to go into what that means, but if you continue to feed
as I drink my coffee.
yeah, I hope it doesn't have sugar in it. If you continue to feed your body poison on a regular basis, your body will break down, and your energy, your what's called your chi, your life force, which is in the which does come from Creator God, that energy is going to be used elsewhere. It's going to be used in fighting the toxins that are in your body. It is going to be used in order to create inflammation. It's going to be used in a whole bunch of other ways, limiting you to the amount of energy that you can use for your spiritual, emotional, and mental fitness and wellness. So taking care of yourself. Now, I know we said those in a certain order, but there's really not one more important than the other, in my opinion. You really got to give all 4 of those areas due attention. It can be one at a time, but understand when you affect one, you'll affect the others. So there really isn't any particular one that is, I would say, more important. They're all very important. Kick the leg of a chair out, you're going to fall over. So if you don't have one of those chair legs healthy, then your chair is going to fall over.
That's good. That's really, really good. And then I would also lead into not being very mindful not to propagate anything that might cause someone else fear. So as we focus and bring ourselves centered, we might be able to handle certain information because we have our meditation practice, we might be healthy, we might be focused and high vibrational, but the person next to us might not be able to handle it or is not as emotionally or mentally prepared to handle that kind of information.
Exactly.
And so we really need to feel in as before we send that text, before we click that to social media, is this going to raise the vibration of the people I know?
That's right. Every time you tell the story, whatever the story is, you give it energy.
Like a snowball.
You give it energy, yes.
Energy goes
You
where
give it
attention.
power.
Yes.
You give it power. Every time you tell the story, you give it power. Now, is it the story about the quademic, the UFOs, the fog, the winter storm? Or is it the story about your past life here? Is it the story about what happened to you 10 years ago that has just kept you in a rut? Is it the story about how that one person slighted you? Is it the story about the person that cut you off in traffic? Is it the story about that lover that messed with you? Every time you tell that story, you give it energy. My wife, don't take this the wrong way. This is just a phrase, okay? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of men or women?
Why do I keep attracting the same relationships?
Same relationships, and that can be that can be intimate relationships, that can be personal relationships, friend relationships. Why do I keep attracting them? Well, that answer's inside you. How are you going to change in order to attract the right people? It all starts in here.
And what we give our attention to and our focus to. And I even encourage people, say a prayer, set an intention for what you want your vibration to be in 2025.
Sure. Absolutely.
Get
And
that
say
in.
it every day. Say it every morning when you get up. For 365 days. Say it every morning when you get up. This is my intention.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll start to see changes. You really will. You have to put some work into it. You have to put some work into it. That's what we're here to do.
That's right.
Raise our vibrations, raise the vibration of the world, and awaken people to their true potential and their inner light.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. This was fun, Cory.
I liked it.
That's fun. World phobias. But it ended on a good note.
Putting them to bed. That's what we needed to do here today.
Putting
Don't be
them to
afraid.
bed.
Don't
Taking
be
control.
Mm-hmm.
Taking
Control is
back.
all yours. You have the control.
Creating.
You have the control. You are a very powerful creator. And you're co-creating your reality right now.
That's right. That's right. I want to play a video for you, Cory.
Oh.
And maybe we could end with this. It's 1 or 2 minutes, and it talks about the screen, and it just has a really good message that I think our friends and audience might enjoy.
Okay.
Something to do with home, something to do with security and stability. Don't allow some of the distractions of the world distract you from the abundance that's there for you, the abundance that is right now being disguised, perhaps, right? This is always there. We're connected to it. Life on earth is beautiful. When we detach from our screens, you know, whenever I look at stuff online that is chaotic, if I'm looking at the news, it feels like it's sucking me into it, and I start experiencing that in my life. So I have to disconnect from it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is such a strong energy. That's an energy of darkness. So if you find yourselves doom scrolling, cut that out. Block it out of your phone. I really mean it, because it's going to suck you in so fast. And I can feel it every time I go in, and it really does. It's a really powerful energy that wants you to pull you into it and live in that energy. And that's not what we want. We are here to live in the energy of abundance. So again, this has to do with your mindset and your perspective. How are you choosing to show up in the world? How are you choosing to experience everything that you're experiencing right now? I feel there's a lot of truth coming out within this energy in your life. There's a lot of guidance, a lot of awareness as well around the reality of life and the reality of things.
Anyway, I really liked her perspective of explaining how the energy was drawing her in. Do you feel like your life force is going into the screen, and then when you put it down, you're in a state of stress? And she said something very key there. She says, what you're watching on the screen, she noticed, was happening in her life afterwards.
Yeah.
The chaos.
Chaos.
So she attracted that energy into her life.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're watching, that is what you're going to attract.
Yes.
And she says, we have to be focused on abundance. 2025, we have good things ahead for us.
We do. We have wonderful things ahead for us. Absolutely wonderful things ahead for us.
We have spiritual growth. We have new friends, soul tribe coming in. We have businesses, work situations that can improve and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where we need to be focused.
So what kind of energy are you going to focus on?
Yeah.
What kind of energy are you going to attract in 2025? Are you going to do the same thing that you've been doing? How's that been serving you? Are you where you think you should be? Why aren't you moving forward as fast as you want to move forward?
This was fun, Cory.
I liked it.
This was fun. World phobias. But it ended on a good note.
Putting them to bed. That's what we needed to do here today.
Putting
Don't be
them to
afraid.
bed.
Don't
Taking
be afraid.
control.
Mm-hmm.
Taking
Control is
back.
all yours. You have the control.
Creating.
You have the control. You are a very powerful creator. And you're co-creating your reality right now.
That's right. That's right. And so join us for the coming up meditations. We do one every single month. Check out the Violet Flame, patreon.com, the Violet Flame. We'll put the link below. And we would love to have you join us for some of those meditations and learn together.
Right.
Learn together how to do this spiritual adventure.
Yes. Until next time, folks, be good and keep your vibration raised.
Bye.
Bye.
And it reminded you of the fear porn.
I did that.
Ooh, you're funny. Okay. Shall we go?
Sure.
Oh, look at you. You're jealous.
I needed more whiskey.